What are you willing to overpay for? A reliable contractor. I have a super reliable general contractor who has done everything from basic handiwork to a full-scale renovation to my house. People always compliment the work he did and ask me for his number, but ultimately they don't hire him because they say he costs more than other guys. Then they hire someone else and bitch about how awful they are. He's 15-20 more expensive, but I learned early on that you cannot oversell a reliable and accountable person doing work in your most valuable investment. Handy people. In the town where my friend resided, there was a guy who did bathroom and kitchen renovations. Although he charged 25 more than his rivals, he gave his word that the job would be completed on schedule. No additional fees unless specified. He would inform you of how long he would work on your assignment that day and arrive on schedule. Everyone wanted to recruit him, so there was a waiting list that spanned more than 6 months. After moving in and finding all the issues, I realized I might have overpaid for my flat slightly. But regardless, I still love this place the most out of any that I've used, so I'm happy with what I did pay. In general, I think people should be quite happy to overpay for property if it means you will be living somewhere you truly love versus somewhere you hate. At least if overpaying still remains within your means. I feel like the question is silly. I wouldn't overpay for shit. But I'll pay market price for tons of stuff, even as that price goes higher. Like, I'm never going to move myself again. I'm always going to pay a mover. But I'm not just going to pay 3x what I should just because I'm willing to overpay for it. That being said, I'm going to do it no matter what the cost is at the time. There is LASIK eye surgery place near me that has billboards advertising their low prices. I'm sorry, but if you're going to be cutting into my eyeballs with fucking lasers, I want you to be the most expensive doctor in town. I'm not going to go down the strip mall joint sandwich between the dry cleaner and the Dollar General to use my buy one eye, get the second eye free Groupon. Handyman. My friend lived in a town where a guy would renovate kitchens and bathrooms. He charged 25 more than his competitors, but he promised the project would be done in time. No extra cost unless agreed upon. He would show up on time and let you know for how long he would work on your project that day. He had a waiting list of well over 6 months because everybody wanted to hire him. Better food ingredients. Used to always buy the cheapest version, but at different points the cheapest versions have been out, so I've bought more expensive brands. Some things don't make a difference, but some things do. And I've decided for the things it does, I'd rather spend a little more and make something I want to eat, than cheap out and make something I have to eat. A truly good meal that I really can't make on my own. Could be a pizza with perfect crust, could be dim sum that is well crafted, or an excellently fried chicken or fish and chips meal. I respect the skill it takes to do those kinds of things right and would happily pay more if it meant the servers and staff got a good paycheck instead of needing to hope for tips. Paradoxically, I will overpay for an assurance that I am not being overcharged. In other words, if a vendor can assure me that, on average, I will not be charged more than a competitive price on each of my interactions with them, then I would not mind paying an X premium to avoid having me shop around for each transaction. This trust is worth a premium. The best cheesecake in town with white chocolate on top and crispy bottom. I will be willing to pay double for it, it is so incredibly delicious. It might actually be the most delicious thing that there is. No kidding aside. We had 2 pies at a birthday, the cheesecake was entirely eaten and the other was still intact, that should say something. Quality hiking boots and outdoor gear. Flights lasting over 4 hours. Travel insurance. Nothing ruins your vacation like sore, blistered feet, or starting it off incredibly stressed and tired because you ran into issues getting there, or spent 8 hours curled into a rictus in a tiny seat with no legroom. I will never skimp on gifts for my mom. When I was young and we had very little money, she did the seemingly impossible to give me happy childhood moments and sacrificed so much for me. Now, I will do everything I can to ensure she receives the best gifts and experiences moments of happiness. Going to a butcher. I know the staff well. They over-deliver and the quality is top-notch. Sure, it is more expensive but not prohibitively so, but we cut down on red meat just from a health standpoint anyway. I still get some things at Costco like the salmon. Good ground beef. Usually if I buy something it is because I want it and am willing to pay the price. So nothing. Usually I am willing to pay the most for something when not getting it would cost me even more money in the future, like a cab to the airport when the train delayed. I like to collect things 19th century European firearms, please don't get mad at me. Every so often I see an auction for the last piece of some set I'm collecting. If I'm put in that situation, and I don't know if I'll ever see another again, I will overpay. There's a place in my hometown that changes your oil while you stay in the car. I have 2 toddlers, so if I don't have to get them out, I'm absolutely not getting them out of the car. This place is much more expensive than anywhere else, but it's worth it. Phones and other electronics. I spend a lot of time using them, so I want something that will struggle to run apps in 2 years. I am still using the Apple Watch 4 and will probably only replace it next year because it will no longer get software updates. Good work boots. I want to be comfortable and dry if I'm on my feet all day. Edit the dude I paid to do my tattoo. He wanted the cheapest option, but did great work in the style that I wanted. And the other dude that I flew out to do my scarification. Everything at the grocery is out of control the last couple years. I've stopped buying some of my favorite must-have items because of price. However, I buy my coffee regardless every time I go. I just couldn't imagine a price that would make me quit. Not necessarily overpay, but optics are one of the things I refuse to cheap out on. When it comes to binoculars and rifle scopes, you generally get what you pay for in terms of quality, and is something I believe you should never cheap out on as a hunter. When traveling, my theory is to throw money at any problem. So that typically means overpaying, especially when traveling internationally. I also am willing to overpay for anything connecting me to the earth: tires, shoes, and a good mattress. Depends on my mood and energy. During vacations I am not gonna argue too much for spending surcharge on Uber. I'm here to enjoy. 30 minutes wasted waiting for surge pricing to die is 30 minutes I could have spent enjoying. People who actually do the job properly and are responsive and prompt. I'll easily pay $25 more for the same job if I know I don't need to watch what you're doing and can just trust you aren't fucking it up. Real guacamole. Cheese. Proper waterproof resistant. I guess nothing is actually waterproof: footwear and outerwear. In general, any fool can be cold, but I'm hungry. I strive to be none of them. Good food. Most of the high-priced food is not good and everything is overhyped, but if I am guaranteed good food, I am willing to pay a good amount, also provided the portions are sufficient. Ha 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 ha. I just replied in another thread that coffee is one thing that's overly expensive. But when I read this, the first thing I thought it was a good cup of coffee, and good food. Laser eye surgery. There were definitely cheaper options in the place I went, but I figured if someone is going to shoot lasers at my eyeballs, I probably don't want the bargain guy. Quality shoes. Used to wear Vans every day of the week and cheap Walmart boots for work. Ever since I got my pair of Hoka's and Red Wing boots, my feet and back have never felt better. To get a special color I really want on my newest thing. No matter a car or PS5 remote, I ain't getting them basic colors because I'm the unique and special snowflake. My kids' school pictures. Is it a total scam they pull like 3 times a year? Sure. Is she the cutest kid in the world and the best thing that ever happened to me? Sure. This full-on panic across seemingly just dreaded over food prices is almost entirely made up of anecdotes. My anecdote is food prices are lower now than they were in 2021. Luxury IMAX movie seats with a pretty shoddy, and powdering my nose before the movie. The Barbie movie got me laid 3 times. Marvel Girls realized that episode of South Park. Quality shoes and/or clothing. I know fast fashion is the trend nowadays, but I'd rather spend more on something that will hold up and last me more than a few wears. A good babysitter. Being able to get a good one reliably scheduled is worth the extra $1. I like my wife. Getting date-night carved out is an important investment. Emergency contraception. CVS debuted a new cheaper pill called Julie. I don't want one that sounds like the babysitter I'm going to have to hire to raise it. Furniture. I'll pay extra to make sure I'm getting something well made. It seems worth it to me. I'll keep it for a long time and get a lot of use out of it. Physical copies of things that I can actually own. Books, software, music, movies, games. Then they can't be taken back or altered at the owner's will. Good customer service for anything. If you can pay for somebody else to take care of your troubles, which would save you time and stress, it is worth it. I thought this was the Counter-Strike subreddit. I was about to mention that you'd drop thousands of dollars on scans if they had the right stickers on them. Garbage bags. When I worked in a kitchen and that shit exploded on me while taking out the trash, I promised myself to never let that happen ever again. A house. I did that as I really wanted the house. Done it to knock the other buyers off. It wasn't too much over the asking price, so it wasn't so bad. Food. I cut corners everywhere but groceries. I spend more on groceries monthly than our mortgage and electricity combined, and I am relatively poor. A bed and socks. You spend a third of your life in bed and maybe all of it wearing socks. A good life can be interrupted with bad versions of either. Oil changes. Used to do them myself for over a decade and pay half the cost, but it sucked. Now that I have the money, I pay people to deal with it. Private airport parking with a shuttle. I don't travel much, but when I do I don't have any patience for general parking and its shuttle buses. I have a celiac disease, so a good GF meal or treat. 6 GF cinnamon rolls at the place near me is $30. So once a year it's a treat. Good shoes. When you wear them for hours on end, I don't mind paying a ton of money as long as the quality is excellent too. An on-stop flight. I don't mind layovers sometimes, but there are certain times a non-stop is so worth the money if I have it. In point of money, I don't have any to pay for in a way to GE it. I'm ready to overpay by my time and strength. I mean, everything is overpriced now, but I don't mind spending good money on a really nice meal with someone I care about. First class airplane tickets. Only the flight is 6 hours or more though. Also, my therapist. Best money ever spent. Despite the pessimistic, realistic, nihilistic answer of basically everything now because inflation, work boots, condoms. It's still cheaper than a kid. Also contacts. It's so nice to not have to wear glasses all the time. Sex. But not just sex, I'm talking really good, passionate sex. Cuddles after. Light conversation, laughs, real ice cream. So far it's only been Jerry's, but it has made all other ice cream taste so mediocre for me. Greatly depending on the band, concert tickets. I will not, however, pay for overpriced resale tickets. If places let me pay extra in order to not have to hold the conversation with anyone, I'm 100 on board.